This is David Smoak's statewide Texas high school football podcast on 365 Sports and powered by Smoaky.com and sponsored by Peter Chevrolet in Longview, an innovative third-generation family dealership dedicated to ethics, integrity, and the community, while creating friendly, intelligent, and transparent environment to assist with any automotive need, large or small.
McNair in the gun with under 2 minutes left, down 44-0, trying to get a score. English right side, and he will score. Touchdown, the senior, Raul English from 2 yards out.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance. We are an insurance provider built by Texans for Texans. We've been protecting families in our great state since 1952. Sturdy Steel. We build more than grandstands and press boxes. We build the spaces where communities come together. Based in Texas and serving communities nationwide. Batteries Plus. We have the person who can fix what you need with expert knowledge on batteries and have you on your way and good to go in no time. Batteries Plus, the experts in charge. Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue, with locations throughout the Southwest, serving up tasty food since 1989, including off I-35 in Waco. Next in line, Marco's Pizza, the fastest growing pizza brand in America. Marco's Pizza, Marcos.com. Pizza lovers get it with 5 locations in the Waco area. Bird Culchin Ford on the Loop and Highway 6 in Waco. And Waco's trusted Ford dealer since 1936. And customers know they can expect us to be fair, honest, affordable, and always committed to the tradition of quality service.
It is week number 3 of the Texas high school football season. Midway at 2-0 with 2 explosive wins to start the year against Westwood and also against Cedar Ridge, and now against a team that they're really explosive too, and Rouse that's put up a ton of points, throwing for a bunch of yards with head coach Joshua Mann. We were with Joe Gillespie, Midway football coach. This is this one of those games that could turn into last person to have the football if it goes according to what we've seen?
Well, Josh Mann and I are both known as more defensive guys, so we hope not. And but I mean, you know, these are 2 explosive offenses. They've obviously been averaging 50+ points a game, so have we, and really clicking on a lot of cylinders and stuff. And so I think this is going to be a great matchup for us and for them. They're 2-0, we're 2-0. You know, they beat Pflugerville Conley week 1. They beat Liberty Hill in overtime
that
last
caught my
week.
attention. I know it caught yours. Yeah,
absolutely. And so, you know, this is going to be a great game for us to go into, and I'm just going to worry about us right now. And we still got, you know, one more opponent before we roll into district, and this will give us a good picture of really where we're at and stuff.
So it's third. You hopefully by the end of the week, although you have survived 3 consecutive Thursday night games on the road, so to speak, and this one is a little bit deeper, 10 or 15 minutes farther than the game in Round Rock, but you're playing at Gupton Stadium. It's a hell of a nice facility as well, but it's another road game. And you guys have fan base. You have a fan base that will travel Thursday night, whatever it is, playoff games, of course, and the support system. How much does that help? Because you have some schools, just because of the district they're in, or it's a split up area, that you might have 50 people at a game. What's it like to have a group that travels with you?
Well, obviously, I mean, that's our 12th man, and you know, to have that group and to travel on a Thursday night, and with work and school and everything that's going on the next day, it just shows you the level of support and commitment, you know, to our community, from our community to our kids and our programs. And so, you know, especially and we're talking non-district stuff, and, you know, that has no bearings on district playoffs or district championships. Obviously they love their football, and you know, these kids love it and sacrifice a lot of time. There's a great deal of support with it, and so we're extremely blessed to be in such a great place.
It brings me to a guy that I love to talk about, and Jason Kramer, and he's been at Midway, working at Midway. He does from washing the uniforms and equipment to everything else. Ask him. He's a historical buff. He absolutely loves Midway. And I remember you know, you had Jerry Gamble, then it was Jeff Hume, then Shane, Ezra, and now you. So when coaches, if it's what was the first time you met Jason, and what did you think?
Well, I'm going to tell you right off the bat, and I learned real quick. I think the reason I finally got the job was because of Jason Kramer.
Wow.
I passed the litmus test with him, and so we could sit there and move forward. And I'm going to tell you,
so he had to approve this thing.
He had to approve this.
He put the final.
He was
stamp.
the final stamp of approval.
Yeah. He's got that kind of power.
And but Jason, I mean, he's a wonderful human being. He loves Midway. He is Midway. And that's boy sports, girls sports. It does not matter. And just like you said, I mean, he's a walking thesaurus of everything Midway. And he does. I mean, he keeps books, he keeps score, he keeps everything, let alone all of the soft goods. I mean, from a football standpoint, we're talking 250 plus kids a day that he's washing for, and 170 of them, 160 of them, he's doing that twice a day and getting that out. And that's not even counting the other sports that he's doing the same thing for. And so he's the MVP. And if Jason ever leaves, I'm going with him.
Yeah, no, I don't know if I know Midway has a Hall of Fame, and I'm not suggesting, because I've covered Midway since 2010, but that seems like if he's not in it, he needs to be.
Absolutely.
For contribution to the athletic department. All right, back to your football team. You have the run game and you put up huge numbers. Lathan had highlight runs. I thought the one that was the 75-yarder, when you think about great running backs, you have to have vision, balance, speed, instincts, power. That run, am I right that it showed all of those traits?
It kind of encompassed all of it. It really did. And that's the kind of runner that he is. And I think we're getting to see right now the maturation process, unfold a little bit from where he was last year as a good running back. And now let's turn into an elite guy. And he knows it, and he's got to go out there. He's savvy enough as an athlete, as a football player now, to sit there and understand some of those things that he can do. And then he needs to go try some things that I hadn't done. And, but kind of put the hammer on it. I mean, when he sat there and he was going down the sideline, you're talking about a non-district game. You're talking about a lot, 90% plus running backs probably would have stepped out of bounds before contact. Instead, he stuck foot and went right into it. And that sends a message when you have that kind of power, that kind of strength, that kind of speed, and you send a message early. This is the type of game that it's going to be. And so, that was a big boost for us offensively and in the game.
When he was a freshman, when he came in like the second or third game of the year, he ran like almost top heavy. He almost like his body was ahead, or his upper body was ahead of his, he got huge, strong physical. And then last year you could see it. And then I said, okay, I want to see him pop one long, and he did that. And then this last game he did the bounce it outside and a slight stiff arm. McNair threw the ball really, really well. And you had some guys running free too, which Kevin Crane, the offensive coordinator, but he seems to be, the touch on his ball is really, really nice as far as the way he's throwing it right. And the protection's been good too.
No, it really has. And obviously the protection, and we've, one of the big things that we pointed out is, I mean, at this point there's 0 turnovers. And if I'm correct, I think in 8 quarters offensively, we've had 2 penalties. So when you start talking about clean games and playing smart games and stuff, so far we've been able to do that. Now, granted, there's a lot of things that we can get better at and improve on and have a lot of work to do still, but I've been very pleased with what Andrew's been able to do up to this point. I think you're exactly right. If he's been off, he hasn't been very far off on a pass. And those guys are doing a great job of catching and moving the sticks and getting some yards after contact and things of that nature. The next thing to do is and they did a great thing last week because we knew that they were going to load the box up, and that's not going to be anything that's going to be different. And first right out of the box, we hit them for about a 35-40 yarder. But credit to them. They stayed with what they were doing. you're going to live by the sword, you're going to die by it too sometimes. But they stayed with it, and we were able to execute and try to get some things loosened up and it creates some big plays.
Couple more things. You scored in all three phases. You scored, of course, offensively. You also scored on a pick six by Max Mayton, and then you scored on the blocked field goal return from Chauncey King. I'm a huge special teams guy. I mean, you're
Yes,
a defensive mind, and just when a team is good and you also have really good special teams, whether it's Bustamante or the punts with McNair or the block, whatever, return game, to me, a good team is really good with special teams that's tight or explosive. And if you're pretty darn good, but you don't have that, you can be just average because you lose games that way. Pretty impressive that you did all three things in that game and that win against Cedar Ridge.
Well, and that's, that kind of goes along with what I was talking about earlier, just playing clean games. And from a special team standpoint, there's been some hiccups in there, either from somebody getting a decent return on us and, when we kick off or something like that, we may hold them, but it kind of flips the field on us. And now we're having to go 90 instead of 60 to put points on the board. Little things like that. But for the most part, especially, through the first 8 quarters of the season, it's been about as clean as it can be. And so, and we tell them all the time, we spend 37 minutes just in the morning practice, and that's just including the morning practice. So we're out there for about an hour and 45. 37 minutes every single morning are spent towards special teams.
Good for you, man. That's
and then we come back again after school and we go over the exotics of special teams. And so just trying to emphasize the importance of it. And I think, right now that's certainly helping us win some games.
Injuries are a part of the game. You're starting to get a little thin on the defensive line because of Cohen, Garcia, and Roberson with what they're dealing with. I know you moved Jackson Shane over from offensive guard to the tackle position as backing up Anderson. A little concerned about that?
Oh, you get a little concerned, obviously. I mean, you much rather have your toys than not have your toys and get to play with them and stuff. And certainly don't want guys to get injured and stuff, and certainly don't want anybody to have season-ending stuff. And, there's a great deal of sacrifice in this game and throughout the course of all season and summer conditioning and then fall camp. And now you start getting to payday. And we're only going into game 3. And so you want these guys to get to experience as much of this as possible. There's going to be some guys that are going to have to step up their roles. So, some of those guys that are out there starting and stuff, especially when you talk from the style of defense that we run defensively, you like to rotate. You would like to have a slew of 9 of them, but you'd like, in worst case scenario, 6 to 7. And but it's going to give some guys that are starting, you're going to have to sit there and possibly play a little bit more. We're going to have to sit there. Everybody else's play around them is going to have to pick up to a different level. And then there's some guys that have an opportunity right now. And fortunately, some of them have gotten some good playing time in the first 2 games. But they've got an opportunity right now that, I'm legitly in. This is my chance. This is my opportunity. Right. And so I'm excited to watch those guys. And those guys that have been out, they've been great coaches this week. And because they want to see the success and them have success just as much.
He didn't say this, but I'll tell you this. They have not had a game since he arrived at Midway, which is now 13, where you haven't had somebody missing. It's just like,
yeah, I know. It's kind of been, it's not a great stat to sit there and have right now. And so we would like to sit there and go into it, but hey, it's a violent physical game. And sometimes this is what happens in sports.
It's a 6:30, our pregame on 365 Sports and also online. It's also televised on the Rogue Media Network. 6:30 pregame Thursday at Gupton Stadium against Rouse, who last year 17-6 Midway winning at Panther Stadium. 7:00 kick and the 3rd consecutive Thursday night game. For Joe Gillespie, Midway football coach, I'm David Smoak, and this is 365 Sports with the Midway Football Coaches Show.